You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Scandal After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Scandal After Show.
Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another after show for Scandal. I am here live in the AfterBuzz TV studios, same time, same place, every single week. This is season 3, episode 2. Guess who's coming to dinner? And as always, I'm joined here with my amazing gladiators. I'm your host, Emil Nish Jr., and next to me we have.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Cornelia.
Hi, I'm Sophia Stanley.
And I'm Bam Erickson.
So guys, we are so excited to be here. But before we continue, if you don't know about iTunes, our podcast goes to iTunes each week, usually the night of or right after. You can check us out on iTunes. So make sure if you go there, you rate, comment, and subscribe. I think I checked this week, we had like 392 ratings maybe, which is pretty impressive. We're still 5 stars. So make sure you keep doing that and sharing, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Also, we are on YouTube. Lots of comments last week, lots of likes. So make sure you keep sharing these videos and keep sharing the podcast. We really, really love and appreciate your support. But wait, did I let you guys introduce yourselves? Or
Yeah.
We already went through?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know what?
Well, I'm having an off night. Again, we have no. But guys, like I said, we're so excited to be here, so make sure you do that. And we're going to go ahead and dive right in. So we picked up right where we left off from last week where, or maybe we saw in the previews, but the blame is going to Janine as far as this affair goes because they need somebody to pin this on since Mellie said a couple of weeks prior that she suspected that the president was having an affair. Then it was announced it was Olivia. Then it was announced it's Janine. And now Olivia is basically not trying to let that happen. So we have a bit of a power struggle in this episode with a lot of people. But the cool thing was seeing, I guess I want to start with the dynamic between, this may be a little later in the episode, but between Mellie, Cyrus, and Fitz, because I still feel like there's a big, big struggle there as far as who is really in charge. And Fitz is finally, I don't want to say coming to his own, but he's really trying to take a stand.
Fitz kind of has the attitude of someone who's in their second term. Like, you know how you always see a president in real life, first term, he's a little, he's trying to watch his step, he's trying to learn the ropes. Second term, you're waiting for him to be who he really is. And Fitz seems to be in that phase, even though it's still his first term. He talks to Cyrus. He got his balls back. Like, you know what I mean? Everything that he does, he seems very sure of himself. He's not really all, nervous and sidestepping like he was. I like the new Fitz. Like, I don't mind the new Fitz at all. I mean, it's, for me, it's a step up from what he was before. So I'm cool with it.
And also, I think because now he knows what really happened with the election, maybe he has to really prove to the living the living 4 people, he has to prove to them that this may be rigged, but I'm still, the head man in charge.
I'm going to piggyback off of something that Bam said. I think it definitely has to do with the fact that he knows them, but I think it's now because he knows who they are. Mm-hmm. I think that he makes a move and he literally is watching what the pawns do. So for instance, he makes a suggestion that he's going to be truthful and he's going to say that he had an affair with Olivia, and then he basically watches how Mellie and then Cyrus react, right? So I think he now knows that they're actually afraid of him. I think that before, because he was unaware, they actually thought of him as a puppet. Now he's actually taunting them and he's doing something and he watches how they scatter. And that the fact that they scatter actually gives him power because it shows that they actually aren't in control, or else they wouldn't react. They would be proactive. They wouldn't be reactive. So I think it gives him a sense of power.
That was I like good.
I really like
right.
that. But it's like both of you were saying, though, it's very much like first season, you remember Cyrus could pretty much tell him anything, and Cyrus was kind of running the show. And I think that's why there is that power struggle, because Cyrus doesn't really know how to deal with this anymore. And it happened, I guess, towards the end of last season and beginning of this season. So now, and he said it in multiple episodes, Cyrus is saying, I'm already not on the president's good side. I don't want to lose that spot. I don't want to lose his trust. I don't want to lose this. And Cyrus is now in fear, because the president now sees the real Cyrus and he sees the real Mellie and what they're capable of. But I really I like seeing how Mellie is so persistent in everything she does, because remember, right after the president kind of ripped them a new one, then Mellie says, okay, I have the logs of where I was when I was out of town, and then she released that to Cyrus, who released it to the media. So Mellie's not going to give up, but
Mellie definitely, Mellie always has her own agenda. Like Fitz can have the idea to do one thing. Cyrus can say it's going to go another way. But Mellie already worked the scenario out in her head and is pretty much saying, this is what it's going to be. If you don't want to trail along, I'm going to get it done without you. Oh, well. So the fact that Mellie put all that into place, called Janine, met up with Janine in the car, guaranteed her $2 million, Mellie knows what she wants to do. And you can either, jump on, or the train is leaving the station. You can get left.
And it's also interesting now, because Cyrus has lost his power. Now he's having to work more with Mellie. He has to work more with her. And, again, because he's lost the trust of the president, Cyrus he's kind of a ticking time bomb. He's, the way he blew up at Sally, and then Sally had to get into him. Like, Cyrus has totally lost what he had.
I don't even know if I would say if Cyrus lost the trust of the president. I think Fitz still kind of trusts him, but I think Fitz trusts himself more now. Okay,
true. But what I meant is that Cyrus has lost, Cyrus had a lot more confidence. He had a lot more swag. When Cyrus came at you, everyone kind of backed down to him, because when he came to you, he would always win. But he's losing it a little bit, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to what Sophie was saying. It's because Cyrus is he's not in control anymore. He doesn't have that power anymore. And with power comes that confidence. And now that Fitz is kind of taking the presidency into his own hands, and he is the president now and really owning up to that, then Cyrus is kind of like, well, what do I do? And it's all about redefining yourself. So I think swags, as you say, is going to come back, but it's just going to take a matter of time. So we saw Olivia took on the case, and Olivia is saying that Janine, my voice sounds, anyway, Olivia is saying Janine is the one who had the affair with the president. Now, it was or she didn't have the affair with the president, I'm sorry, and that Janine's innocent. But I whispered to Cornelia right after this scene, there is a scene where Mellie was watching TV, and they were saying, if not Janine, who? If not Olivia, who? Who is it going to be? And then they said women of a certain age sometimes get jealous for no reason, and they said that, Mellie could have had a great political future.
Basically, he goes, it would be unfortunate because other than that, so if it was true that she just simply was jealous and she made it up, if not for that, she actually is in fact a very intelligent woman who could have, past tense, had a promising political career.
And that's kind of that's what really sparked her going to meet Janine and going to the car and saying, I'll pay you $2 million, whatever. But I don't know. I'm a little confused. I want to see where this whole storyline with Mellie is going, though, because now that Mellie, or Fitz, has figured out Mellie and Fitz has figured out Cyrus, it's going to be a redefining moment for Cyrus and Mellie. I just want to see where that's going.
I liked where it was going originally when Olivia made the press conference, and the way she tied it around. She not only put Janine in the clear, but she also put herself in the clear. She says, first it was me, now it's Janine, who is it going to be next? And I thought, okay, great. She has finally rid all of the rumors that if it's not Janine, it's her. That was a great way. And then it went into this whole thing. And so now it leaves the question again. Well, actually, no, because now because Fitz admitted that, that Janine is the one that he did it. But I don't know, just something about this story that really bothers me, how it turned into.
I agree with you, Bam, maybe for slightly different reasons. initially she calls Fitz, right? And Fitz basically says, go ahead, go after me, like with your full force, right? Because in essence, A, this was not his decision. B, I think that in that dialogue, it shows how much he truly respects Olivia for being Olivia, right? Now, the only thing that I kind of didn't like is it didn't seem part of her personality, Janine, to take $2 million, right? If you're such, because when Olivia made the press conference, she basically was like, you know, the White House is guilty of slander, right? Slander has two parts. It's basically saying that you're telling an untruth and that untruth will hurt my reputation. Okay, that's why she went to the fact that she was summa cum laude at Berkeley, that she's a great daughter, friend, all of these things, right? So basically, she's clean. That's even why Sally, later on in the episode, goes, this doesn't feel right. Like, she doesn't seem like the type of girl who would have, A, slept with the president, or potentially had, to use someone else's words, the swagger to affect his marriage, right? For her to go from that person to be so upset to be, you know, quivering in the middle of a boutique, saying I should be on the Hill right now talking about a bill because I have idea, right? That seems like someone who really has conviction and really has set herself up to do something behind the scenes as part of as a government employee. Then all of a sudden to take $2 million, because let's talk about your future would be I'm going to appoint you to something that. You know, we no longer in the United States can allow sex to undermine the reputation of a woman. Sex is just sex. She didn't get her job because of sex. She's going to be appointed because she's the best woman for the job, right? They could have done that narrative. $2 million in a Cayman account, and now what? You have a book deal, and you're the butt of jokes, and you move on, and we don't care, and you're not even D-list.
And my thing was, I think the scene that everything you just said was perfect, but the scene that bothered me was when Olivia came and talked to her, and then the whole broadcast was preempted because the president was going to speak live, and she was like, oh, what's going on? Why is he doing? Like, asking Olivia, like, she's concerned. Like, you're getting what you wanted regardless. Like, you were just about to. Why do you even care?
Maybe, though, taking it back one step, maybe Mellie pitched the money to her because Mellie doesn't see her as being good enough to pitch another option, like a higher position or whatnot. Because think about it, Mellie started this whole story. Well, they all started this whole story, but she was referring to her as a bimbo as if she really was a bimbo. Mm-hmm. It's like Mellie kind of is forgetting this isn't true, Mellie. Like, this isn't for real. So maybe she just pitched this option to her just to kind of like, you know, like a throwaway, like, she's just a bimbo. Here, give her a little money and kick rocks.
Where does Mellie have $2 million?
Also, Mellie comes from money, remember?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the whole pedigree. So, A, Mellie comes from money. B, I don't know the numbers, but I would assume that first ladies get a minimum of $50,000 to do public appearances, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, she also is a former lawyer, and she went to Harvard, correct? Right, if I remember. So just those three things alone, like, she's a Harvard-educated attorney. I don't know what her background was, you know, as Fitz was coming up, and now she's a first lady. So trust me, she has more than $2 million of her own, you know, her own assets to pay her.
Okay.
I don't know.
But time out. I just take that back. But let's remember that Bam said that.
Yeah.
Let's remember that Bam said that.
I don't know. The storyline was okay.
What about like how they looped Jake in though? Throughout this whole deal, Jake got looped in on multiple strings. Like, Olivia kept saying, you know, I'll do X, Y, Z, but where's Jake? Find out where Jake is. Fitz basically went on TV because Olivia wanted him. Like, I take that back. Fitz did what he did, and in turn, Olivia got Jake. Mm-hmm. The dude she was sleeping with that he knows about, and he clearly has a problem with. Mm-hmm.
And had to see it on tape. Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought that was a very powerful scene, because I think that, you know, earlier on they had the conversation about Vermont, right? And I'm going to take it back where we are. To me, the only mistake that Fitz said in that conversation about them being in Vermont and having 4 kids, he should have said, and you will be mayor, and I'll make jam. Okay?
Yeah.
Number 2, I think that for her to have to make that phone call, she was saying, all of this that we're going through, do you not realize what I've done for you? Because think about it. That's the first time she technically either took off her white hat or put on her white hat, is when she was part of the Fab Five and basically they rigged an election. In her mind, the only thing that makes it justifiable is for not only for him to be president, but for him to be the president, for him to make some kind of change in how we view democracy, how we view government, how we view the republic. So if you can basically get Jake Ballard out of wherever Jake Ballard is, then maybe you're the guy that we should have actually never rigged an election for. Maybe you're the guy that your dad said you were. That's kind of what I heard in a weird way in that exchange. So I think he had to prove himself, just like we're saying this whole season is about him proving whether or not he deserves to be the president and whether or not he deserves to live. Because remember back in season 2, what did she say? You need to earn me. He's still doing that. He's still trying to earn her respect, earn her love.
But go ahead.
I just also thought that what was really interesting when they had the conversation on the phone, Mr. Smooth Talker, tried to ease in there. I miss you. She was like, no, stop.
And that's the thing.
But then I loved how the dynamic of the conversation went, because then once Olivia was like, I'm not having it, they immediately went to friends and they started talking. Well, guess what? I got to hoop with the Dalai Lama. And she was like, no, for real. And then it was not about the relationship and the love and I miss you, boo, and all that other stuff. It was about them having the conversation that they had, which I guess ignited their relationship or their love or whatever. But I thought that was cool.
I don't know if you heard, like when he called her, she called him, whatever. When they did the hi and then the conversation started, I'm starting to have a love-hate relationship with it, because I just don't want to keep going through a cycle. And I know this is a scripted series and everything, but the cycle is a little bit exhausting.
Yeah. Well, I think...
sorry, just part of me secretly and not so secretly really wants her to get back with Jake, honestly, especially now that he's released.
Well, my thing is, are y'all going to talk or y'all not going to talk?
Yes.
Are we broken up or are we not? Because, they ended it last season and she was pretty much going to walk away, but now they're always on the phone. They're talking about hooping. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, wait, are we? I want to know.
I think they're starting from, not from the scratch, but they're starting from the bottom where they're just becoming friends.
Started from the bottom, now we here.
But I think also, too, let's be clear. Fitz never has given up.
True.
Right?
True.
She's the one who walked away. And technically, Fitz made the phone call at the beginning of the episode, right? And that was because he was like, what's going on, right? I mean, that was his segue in, but he really just wanted to say, I miss you. Her phone call was purely because she was like, I need to save Jake.
So do you think now do you think that her saying that I need to save Jake is saying to Fitz, it's over, I want Jake? Or was it more, I'm just concerned about my friend who saved my life?
I think it's both. And I think that's why she brought up, oh, he saved my life. And he goes, oh, I know that. And he said something, and Gladiators, help us out with the quote, please. He basically said something to the effect of, I know, like he saved mine too. He goes, that would be twice now. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think on some levels, he's actually, it's more like his honor's hurt. That, like, this dude who probably saved him, saved his girl again, and slept with his girl, and basically, like, is literally the man.
Yeah.
But I don't... In a weird way, I think that Fitz is actually very comfortable with Liv's feelings towards him. That actually isn't their issue. And that's what's scary about it. Like, he knows that Liv loves him. It's just a matter of trying to figure out a scenario where they can basically be public. And I think that's why he leaked her name. And that's why he was willing to go on national TV and say that he slept with her. And if anything, I think he did the whole Janine thing not for Jake. He did it because now that's no longer a secret. Yeah. No one can ever use him sleeping with anyone against him. Yeah. He's come out on TV and was like, I had an indiscretion. I slept with someone, move on. No, think about it. Yeah. That can never be
a hot topic anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. There was one last thing that was in my head. Fitz, Jake. It will come back to me. Okay. But Jake's in B613, so let's go ahead and talk about Commander. What's the head of command? What's his name? Eli Pope. Once again, all of his scenes just blew me away. We really got, and I really love the flashback episodes, but it was so many flashback episodes between Eli Pope and Olivia, and then later on we'll talk about Huck. But I mean, just these singing. So the title episode is "Guess Who's Coming to Dinner," and then I was watching an interview today on Access Hollywood Live, and Darby Stanchfield, who plays Abby, she was like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be good tonight." You don't like when you see the whole scene with the dinner, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I, for some reason, I don't know why I thought this, but I thought that after she went to boarding school, she never really communicated with her father past that point. Was I the only one who?
That's what it was alluded that once her mom died at 12, then the communication stopped. But obviously, as I think some of us predicted, that we'll see flashbacks. So there was a time briefly once she graduated from grad school that there was now communication because he paid Eli paid for her grad school, and in return she has to have dinner with her dad on Sunday. So that's probably why the communication is there, because of the deal they made.
Yeah, and you can tell she wasn't interested in talking to him
at all
at first, until he started talking about, he was just like, talk to me, or yada, yada, yada. And then she kind of started to open up. That's when she found out more information about what he does. And then she told him about her. We'll get to that later. But it looked like they had a strained relationship. You know what I mean? Like, you sit down with your parent, y'all have dinner every Sunday, and every Sunday you don't have anything to talk to him about. That don't scream, happy home.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. Taken in a vacuum, I actually think it seemed very normal. And the reason being is I thought that his explanation made sense. He lost his wife in a plane crash. That's extremely traumatic. You often have certain families where it's like very kind of specific roles, right? Like the dad works at the Smithsonian. I'm assuming, that's his cover.
Right.
But given the fact that we know he's a spy, let's assume that at the Smithsonian he worked a lot, right? And that he traveled possibly to do archaeological digs and so forth and so on, right? So he was more like the provider, and her mom was more the nurturer. So in general, their relationship was very much just,
it was because he was away all the time. The mother was at home with the daughter, so the relationship was already distant because of the lifestyle that he lived in his profession.
Exactly, and then you have a death of the mom, but also his wife. Mm-hmm. So he's grieving and has to take care of a child that he probably has never actually taken care of.
Exactly,
and on the surface, it doesn't seem that bad. Like, he sent her to boarding school. It's not like he sent her to, like, some mean aunt. Like, she went to the best boarding school. No, I mean, just being real. Like, that's part of the reason she probably is Olivia Pope and is so polished and refined and was able to then go to Georgetown and probably rack up at least $200,000 worth of debt, because I think that's important in the deal. It's not like chump change. Like, we're talking at least $100,000 that she needs to repay, possibly $200,000 with interest. Anywho, but I thought that dynamic did not seem weird to me. I think it seemed very much like a lot of families where it's kind of like, come on, talk to me, especially for that point in a parent-child relationship where you're now an adult. Where, what do we talk about? Because we have to get to know each other as adults. And I think that knowing each other as adults is going to come into play when we start to talk about Huck, when he says, you don't know me and you don't want to know me.
Right.
That's kind of, I think, why it's strained, because they really don't know each other.
And also at that age, when a parent has been gone out of your life for so long, you feel like a grown up, and you feel like, well, damn, I don't need him or her anymore because I'm grown. You weren't there for my graduation. You weren't there for my prom. You weren't there for all of these important things. And now you want to ask about my life and all this other stuff. And where the hell have you been?
But let's keep in mind, though, when they were talking at the table, the first scene we saw, he basically apologized. He said, I'm sorry. I took responsibility for anything that happened. I sent your mother away. So, yes, he said, I sent your mother away. Y'all didn't catch it?
Oh,
I wrote it right down.
I did not catch that.
Gladiators, y'all watch it 17 times. Tweet us the comment, because when he was having this conversation with her and when he apologized, he quickly said, I sent your mother away, and he said something, followed it up with another statement. I didn't catch it. But could that possibly be why their relationship strained? Because it's, it could be normal, I'm outgrowing this. I have my own life, Dad. You really don't know about me. Resentment. But if there is a reason, there may be a reason why they're strained, and not just normal child parent growth. I don't know. We'll look into it.
Well, when she finally did start opening up, she said that she was doing good, and then she said, "I have a boyfriend." And the father's response was, "Is he good enough for you?" What do you guys think about that?
This makes a lot of sense. I think for me, being a filmmaker, what I really enjoyed about this episode was it was story driven, and the story, the script, it was brilliantly written by Heather Mitchell. Some of the other stuff it lacked as far as the normal type of scandal episode, but story-wise, it was great because it answered a lot of questions that we have been getting tweets and tweets and tweets and tweets about, and all these different kind of theories, and it really answered a lot of questions about their relationship.
And Puddin' Pop.
Yeah, and Puddin' Pop. So it makes sense now why. I get Edison. I get him. I think he still talks too much, but I get him. And then it also makes sense on their relationship. And basically, the cause of their relationship was Pops. He put an end to it. He popped him in the eye. Had him popped in the eye a couple of times. He didn't like it. He broke the relationship off.
But look, Edison wasn't that bad in this episode.
He really was. I actually liked the guy in this episode.
I like the guy. Early relationship, it seems like he was like a cool guy. Like,
you know what? You know what's funny? Sorry. Finish your thought, Keneally. I apologize.
He just seemed like, a nice guy. He really cared for her. They were living together. In his world,
everything was fine.
Everything was fine. I've asked you, Olivia. I'm not going to ask you anymore. She finally introduced her to his dad, to her dad. He was excited.
When she needed something. Only when she needed to get something from him. Because
that's on her part. But
but
Edison,
on his part. Yeah, and that's the thing that sucks.
Nice
that's
guy.
why I feel bad talking about him, because now I feel like he just got the short end of the stick the whole time.
But again, even when they were having the conversation, when Olivia was on at the train station, there's always been this, he's putting more into the relationship than is. She's still kind of cold. Yeah, she said, "I love you," but she's cold to him. Even 5 years prior.
But they lived together.
Yes, but she's still... She's not as old. She's not as.
You're saying there's still a Chinese wall?
Yes.
I agree with you, but I think that now, seeing the flashback, I think the reason is different than we had initially thought. I think it's partly because up until this point, Olivia was Edison's partner. Right? She was kind of that little, I don't know, this is going to be a wrong choice of words, but I'm going to say a Stepford wife. That's what she had been kind of geared towards, right? That's why her dad was have these, sit down and basically go through the motions. You know that I don't really have anything to talk to you about. You don't have anything to talk to me about, but let's go through the motions. We're going to be nice. We're going to be civil. We're going to talk about wine. We're going to do all those things where it's a surface facade of a family. There's no yo, hey mom, what's up? Hey dad. There's no familial energy to it, right? At that moment when she realized that her whole life possibly was a lie, that's when she, in essence, that was the catalyst for the real Olivia Pope, right? Now, it's not a coincidence, and it goes back to what you said last week, and you are now so right, that she really is Rowan, or Eli. Olivia has two personalities, not in a schizophrenic or bad way, but think about it, because think about it, the Olivia we saw is not the Olivia we've been seeing, right? So that Olivia couldn't be with Edison, but she always felt it but didn't know why. In the same way that she probably always felt disconnected to her dad, because he's always been lying. They're both living double lives in a weird way, right? And that was the moment where it became a reality, and that's why she stepped up differently. Because the way that she introduced Edison and the way that she said, yeah, Senator Edison Davis of the Intel Committee, he's the one who makes sure that spies don't do what they're supposed to do. Oh, please, honey, go in the kitchen and let this breathe. And looks at her dad check.
Yes.
Edison lost me when Olivia was introducing Edison to her dad. When she said, he proposed to me, I said yes. And then he said, well, he goes and puts his 2 cents in about how Olivia didn't respond immediately and how he had to wait. I think that's the wrong thing to say to a dad in the initial meeting when you're not even inside the door yet.
He's nervous.
I understand that he's nervous, but you don't know what kind of father that you are being introduced to. So to say something like, she didn't say yes to me immediately, that in a father's mind, that already puts something in his head back up, dude.
But
it's minor.
I get what you're saying. I completely understand what you're saying.
Or it could say that your daughter's tough, you raised a great girl. It could be
okay,
she's not easy.
Yeah. Gotcha.
She's not easy.
And I kept trying.
I kept trying.
Okay.
And I want her,
really
and
want
I
to marry
really
her.
want to marry her.
Okay, got it.
I'm just going to go back a second because something didn't make sense to me. When the first time that Olivia had dinner at Eli's house, right? And the whole comment about wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense because what did he say? He goes, "Oh no, you've just always had cheap wine." What was the line?
And she said, I don't really like or have a taste for it, like it. And then he said, oh, you've never had fine wine before.
That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense given her backstory.
Well, okay, why? Break it down.
Right? I mean, didn't she
true.
go? I don't remember the schools, but she basically went to the top prep schools.
Right.
We all know the kids at prep schools drink. And kids
Maybe
at
she
prep
was
school in Switzerland, right? Wasn't it Switzerland? I feel like one of the
something crazy like that.
or the Sorbonne or France. Like, you would know fine wine. I know that I'm being nitpicky, but something about that didn't make sense to me.
There was a couple things that didn't make sense, and I can't wait till we get into the whole Huck thing. But there was a couple of things that I saw flaws in the story.
Well, we can actually. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I would just
I was gonna say we can actually go ahead and go into Huck, and it's gonna tie in with Huck and the father. So.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The pen thing. I thought there was a lot of great. There were a lot of planning. What do you call it? Planning evidence from the writing term, where you plant something, then there's evidence later. The wine. It explains why.
Oh yeah, because
She has not put that glass of wine in every episode. She's always sipping on the wine, and it's because her dad, gave her a better palate for wine. So that makes a lot of sense. And I thought the pen with the whole thing with David was genius. But the only thing that I didn't understand was, why did she have to go to David to get the back? She's a lawyer too. Why couldn't she have dug up the information on Huck? And second of all, if that's not Huck's real name, how did they do the background check on him?
Oh, from the fingerprint, right? Mm-hmm. There was a fingerprint
on the purse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the only thing to your point is that not all of those records are public.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those are on like an enclosed database. So even like, when you see on TV when they like run a background check,
Mm-hmm.
again, it's not 2013. It's at least probably 2003, especially in the District of Columbia. That information's not public information.
Okay.
So she couldn't just go on her computer and run it through.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And just because you're a lawyer, you still need to have connections. In the same way that, just jumping back to the scandal, it was on a White House server.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's on separate servers, so you still need to know someone to have access, even just a password.
So I'm going back to my notes here, just trying to remember where everything happened. So she sees Huck a lot of the time because she.
Can I say
Yeah,
the first line? So she was like, what did she go? She goes, he goes, like, Sunday dinner, and she goes, every Sunday, and then he goes, like, doggy bag. She goes, doggy bag, and goes, every Sunday. Like, it just shows you more of their relationship, that they, like, it's gonna sound silly, they really did have a friendship that took time to build. It wasn't just that she saw some random guy back when we saw in season 2 and just decided, like, oh, we're gonna be friends. Like, it was a continual thing, especially connected to a time when she's vulnerable, because again, she's going to see her dad, something that she doesn't want to do. So in general, as she's going, she's in a very emotional state. So I think she's more receptive to someone who's hurt or is in pain, because that's who she is when she goes to see her dad.
It was after she had dinner with her dad and he cooked and the wine and everything. She went to Huck and she was talking to Huck, and that's when she said, "You can trust me."
Well, it was
after.
It was after, wasn't it? After.
Y'all, I can't understand my handwriting.
It was
I'm sorry.
after she got attacked. Her purse was stolen. She ran away, and then when she saw him again, she said, "Huck, how did you learn how to do all of that?"
Right.
And
right.
yeah, and then she
I guess I
said,
took karate.
"She said he took
Oh, yeah,
karate
we
in
got
high
to
school."
Yeah.
So not that kind of karate. So she said, "You could trust me. Tell me what happened," and he spilled the beans.
This scene made me so sad, just knowing when somebody's gone through something like that or is holding on to something so deep and they have nobody to express it to, and to finally see him release it to this woman that he's learned to trust and just let it all out. I almost got emotional. I held it back, but that was a really powerful scene, just having him, like, because I think this week I'm a little, my reviews are a little weird because I've been reading too many anti-scandal reviews, I think, this past week, because I keep seeing tweets and stuff. And, like, some people, like, really criticize. I don't even want to get into that. But the point is, if you were just coming at this show from an outside perspective, oh, I watched a couple episodes, I don't get it. But since we've seen every single season, every single episode multiple times, and, like, we really understand the relationships here, that was a really powerful scene to see how Huck opened up to her and really let it go.
Yeah. And
I think even in a vacuum, though,
Yeah.
it's a powerful scene.
And even take it from the perspective of just a random lady and a random homeless guy. For someone to bring the same homeless man food all of the time from nice restaurants. We're not talking about just, some McDonald's French fries. For her to take the time to make sure that he eats, we saw before that she would buy him coffee. He gives her updates on the train. He knows her schedule. He kicked somebody's ass when they were trying to, hurt her. So if that were just a random lady and a random homeless person, you got to respect that relationship, because we walk past homeless people every day, all the time.
Yeah.
And for her to take the time to really get to know him and make him feel like she cares, that's real. That's sentimental. That's important.
Now, when she went to her dad and told him about the homeless man and said that she really liked him, they had a special connection and all these different things, obviously, if you're telling your parents that, they'll be a little hesitant, like, oh, you're talking to some random homeless guy, like, especially knowing what her dad does, or what she thought he did, like he's high up in the Smithsonian and all these different things. But was I the only one? Probably. But was I the only one, like, for a minute, when she was telling her father this and then she started talking about B613 and he was pretty much unfazed, where I was thinking, wait a minute, was he not part of B613 at this point?
No, absolutely not. I caught his expression. His disposition changed just a little bit, but not enough to where it gave
An alarm to Olivia, yeah. Okay.
I agree with Bam. It's almost he didn't blink.
Yeah.
Like if you watch it, he held his face for 1 second too long. Like it's almost like he was playing a poker face.
Yeah.
So because he was playing the poker face, he held his non-reaction for just 1 second too long.
For me, a side note, there was two things that I something I noticed was Olivia has a car because she went to what was the place on the street? What was it called?
Wonderland.
Or Acme, and then the street was Wonderland.
And so she has a car. Why is she taking the subway every day for work?
Maybe it's faster traffic.
I'll be honest with you. I lived in the District of Columbia and I had a car. It's not efficient to take your car to work, just the way that the city is set up. It's different though on the weekends when you're going to the grocery store or where you're going usually outside of the District of Columbia. Like I could go to the mall in Maryland or in Virginia. I'm going to drive to do that, especially when it's late at night. Like most people are traveling on the metro during working business hours, so there's almost like strength in numbers. But if you're going to do something like after hours by yourself, you probably take your car.
Because when she got mugged, there was no one in the train station.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like,
DC stations can get empty sometimes, though. Even if it's not peak hours, it could be, you and somebody else on a whole other side of the platform on the other end. It just depends.
Okay.
Now, Olivia told her dad to also investigate and use her high power with the FBI agent to find out what was going on, if this B613 was actually real. Fast forward to the real time. Well, I guess you can say flash forward to real time. We have Eli Pope in OPA meeting the coworkers, and the scene where Olivia and Eli go into the office and they have to do like the fake smiles, they're really arguing. That was one of my favorite scenes, I think, of all the seasons. But what do you guys think about Quinn? Because we didn't even touch on this last recap. Quinn is going a little crazy because last season she was talking about, we can just kill one of the interns, and now she's talking about how she hacked into Liv's emails and she has no reason as to why she's hacking.
She just sat down and did it.
Yeah,
because she can.
Teacher.
Go ahead, man.
I like this whole thing with Quinn. For Quinn to have gone through what she has gone through, yeah, in season 2, they basically told her to get over it. But for what she's been through, me personally, Bam Erickson, I could not just let it go. Especially when her boyfriend was killed.
Her identity changed.
Her identity's
Two boyfriends
changed.
were killed.
Yes. Everything that she's gone through, it's not as easy to just let things go. Just like it wasn't easy for Abby to let her relationship go with David or Olivia and her situation. All of these people all have personal lives, except for Harrison, but they all have personal lives, and it's very difficult to just turn on and turn off. So I get it, and I'm glad that Quinn is taking a stance because everyone just seems to let Olivia just do whatever she wants to and not give any answers. And as you see today, she was finally forced to answer. You can't, it's one thing when you are like a teacher and you're a student, but you have these very intelligent people. Yes, you may have saved them, but these people they're very intelligent, they're smart, they can hack and they can do all of these things, and you don't give these people any kind of answers and you just expect for them to do what you do. It's just too much. And I'm glad that somebody that's finally stepped up, because Harrison is always very quick to defend Olivia. When he had one line today. What was the one line that he said? He had one line today where he basically said, he said he had one line, but he basically, when Quinn questioned something,
he shut it down.
He shut it down.
Yeah.
And he always does that, and there has to be a reason why he's always coming to her defense.
But my thing is, Quinn is, yes, I agree with what you're saying. But Quinn's not stepping up to Olivia in Olivia's face. It's one thing for you to get ballsy and to be like, enough is enough, all this stuff happened to me, and this is what I'm going to do.
She's not going to tell the truth, though.
But it does not matter. If you are on this, if you have this renegade attitude and you're like, enough is enough, let's find out, let's put the cards on the table, tell her. Or not even tell her, but don't do it when it's just you and Huck. Because she doesn't let on around anybody in OPA to what she's doing or how she's acting or what she's becoming, except Huck. Nobody else knows that she is the new Quinn.
Because she's tight with Huck. Harrison's a blabbermouth. He's gonna go back and tell Olivia. So why would she go and tell Harrison anything? Because he's an ass kisser to Olivia.
No, I get it, but if you're gonna be balls to the wall, do it in front of everybody. Don't be in the room with Huck like, yeah, let's get her.
I'm
and then when you
enjoying
get in the conference room, you're like, oh sure, let's put the pictures up on the wall. Where's the tape? Like, let's be balls to the wall all the time.
I just have to comment on, because I'm not comfortable with you calling Harrison an ass kisser. I think it really has to do with the whole Gladiator motto, right? And I'm going to bring it down to a certain level of military protocol, right? Like, you follow orders. Like, that's what you do. You don't ask why. You don't ask what the backstory is. Like, you follow orders. That's what you do. And part of that has to do with, if you ask, you might not like the response, right? And if you know, and then there's emotion attached, I might not be able to save you, right? If it's my job, if we're all on a battalion together, right? And we have to, like, I die for you, you die for me, right? Now, all of a sudden, I get to know you, right? Your person, your backstory, and there's something about your backstory I don't like. Now, that may affect how willing I am to save you, right? I think that what's going on with the associates is Harrison is a gladiator, right? He signed up from the very beginning. He knew what was at stake, and I think he chose the lifestyle, right? That's why he's full in. Huck may not have chose, but he feels so grateful and has said several times, Olivia saved my life. He's all in. Right? Abby was all in until David. Why? Again, because she basically called Olivia when she was being abused, and Olivia saved her life. Quinn did not ask to be saved, right? So that's why she's kind of like, I don't know what to do. And as things start unraveling, basically meaning she's now learning that she can do things, and I think that the potential scandal with the president of Olivia's name being leaked made them scared. And that's now, I think, for the rest of the season, they're all going to be reacting on fear because Olivia isn't this omnipotent being that she used to be, right? Because she almost got outed, number one. And in their mind, she didn't do anything to fix it. They fixed it, right? And now you have that she actually has a dad. I think that's why Quinn's saying. Quinn's like, she's a dad? Like,
Yeah.
And he lives in D.C.
And he seems so normal. Right? Did you catch that? He seems so normal. Why? Because Olivia seems not normal. She seems like this person that they all look up to. If she has a dad and he's normal, then maybe we shouldn't just follow her orders without asking questions.
No, I agree, but I don't like how she's like with the Huck, like, yeah, look what I found. Look what I found. And then with everybody else, she's like, sure, come on, let's go, gladiators for life.
What do you think, though, about the fact that, Huck said, don't be so much like me, be more like Olivia. And basically her response was, that's exactly what I did. I was more like Liv in the fact that my gut told me something wasn't right, and she continued to investigate.
Yeah, but Olivia, I don't see Olivia doing that with someone that's on her team like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Well,
I mean,
but Olivia,
She sold Abby
yeah,
out.
Olivia and Harrison.
Yeah, she did, but that was, but was that for the benefit of the job, or for Quinn? Was this personal? Is it personal with Quinn, or is it
That's
business?
true though. Olivia had a reason. What is Quinn's?
Is this
what is Quinn's
personal?
reason right now?
Because if it's personal, then that's a whole different story.
But technically, right? And this leads into probably the next thing we're going to talk about. For me, the most powerful scene was basically when the realization came that Huck realized that Rowan or Eli is command. So basically meaning he's the head guy. So he's literally the guy that put him in the hole.
Can we back up just a little
Yes,
bit?
yes.
I think that was also important, but I also think that scene was important with Olivia and her dad when she went to confront her about Huck when she got up and said that she was done with him.
Okay, let's go there first.
I feel that was a great segue into the conversation.
Wait, sorry, what part?
When they were at dinner, and
Yeah.
then she came to him, put the pen down in front of him, and said, "Acme," and she said,
yeah.
"Tell me, what do you really do? Are you B613?"
Yeah, I thought that was a great scene for two reasons. I felt that the dad's response was a good response to try to keep his cool while they were in the public. I thought that was a good response, and I thought that was really bold and strong of Olivia to stand her ground and say she's done.
Harry?
But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the scene you were talking about, though, that you were about to get to with the whole Huck and Olivia thing. We made a comment because last season you even said that with Huck and Olivia, when she said there was no deal, you were saying that may not have been the case. So
You sure did.
everything was revealed finally tonight, and I really like how we finally have, because I feel like tonight it was one of those things where it wasn't one of my favorite episodes, but it was more like like everything was just connecting throughout the whole night. But the scene when Huck put his hands on Olivia, though, that I was in awe and shock.
I was like, yes.
What?
Because I'm sorry, just like Sally gets on your nerves, Olivia is on my last nerve, and
Somebody just need to put her in her place.
somebody needs to finally put her in her place. And now I'm not to choke her.
To
That
choke
was
out,
that
though?
was too much. But again, Huck is crazy. He's tick tick boom. So I don't condone the choking. But I was glad that Olivia finally revealed truth to somebody.
But-
finally.
I don't know. I think that a lot of things were extremely emotional in this scene. And I think first of which is, and I can't wait to watch it again, I actually don't think that he applied that much force.
It didn't look.
It didn't look like it.
was
I
just
think that
holding, yeah.
he was just holding her, and I think it was just his aggressive approach towards her. That's what threw her against the car. And even as he's holding her, if you watch, there's a gentleness to it. He's actually restraining himself. Like, he's very much restraining himself. And I think that
You're very
what's
right.
going through his mind is he's like, oh crap, has this whole thing been reprogramming? Because think about it. No, let's really go conspiracy theory for a minute, right? So Olivia's dad is the head of B613. So does that mean that she was planted there to walk by him every day at the Metro? Was it planted for her to get mugged? Right?
So,
Was it-
Sophia,
High five, bam,
That
high
is-
five.
oh
do you
my
know what I mean?
God.
Like, I think he's literally, and especially, like, she lied to him. Anytime that there's an omission, that's actually worse than lying. I'd actually, if you lie and you're like, no, I'm really this, but to omit is worse. So the fact that she omitted the connection and then doubly lied when he was like, you said there was no deal, right? I would literally think, is this whole thing part of reprogramming? Because technically he's been working for somebody,
Yeah.
which is Olivia Pope, which is the daughter of the commander. So I think that's why he got so worked up and he snapped. But again, I think that the way that he snapped, if we watch it again, I think it showed the utmost of restraint. Because I think the reason he had to turn his back and almost look down is he has no idea what reality is. and all he knows is the one thing that he may want to hold on to is that Olivia has to be right. Olivia has to wear the white hat, or else he's been in this loop.
It definitely changed things for them. It changed things for him. It changed things for Quinn. And when the others find out, if they find out, it changes everything for them as well. I like this event. Like, I don't like the fact that, it was that intense, but I like the way where this is going, because now it challenges everybody's relationship. It challenges the relationship. There's no more, it's no more with Quinn, what I was saying about Quinn, her being, it's not personal. Now this really challenges people's relationships, and not just based on Olivia doesn't tell us anything. It's now really about your dad is who your dad is, and this affected Huck's life. It's affecting everything. So now the relationships with all of them are in question. I like that. I just like the way it's going, the episode, whatever, the season.
Well, I'm excited to see where Eli, feels weird calling him Eli now, but I'm excited to see where that storyline goes, because we found out that the reason why, like we touched on briefly earlier, the reason why Olivia and Edison kind of aren't together is because he caused a car accident. And even the way he told Olivia, it was so like just lack of care. Oh, he was in an accident. Oh, I think he broke his collarbone. Like, just.
I think what he did was he vetted him, and maybe there was some information about Edison, because clearly we thought he was gone, but he's back.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some information, because he seems to be the king of dig up dirt.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. Because he did say something to that effect. Like, he checked him out, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, for the accident alone, I'm giving Eli/Rowan semi-cold piece of the week.
It's back!
Because, like, really, you had to have the car crash? Like, come on, dude.
There could have been another way.
There could have been another way. Like, come on,
It's
dude.
funny, when he was saying it, though, I actually wasn't sure if there was a car crash or he was just saying. Like, I know that there probably was, do you know what I mean? But I just want to know, how is she going to, like, explain that? Is she not going to go to the hospital? Then she's going to give the ring back?
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. That's just what my brain was thinking. I was like, or is he just threatening?
And if he was threatening, he's really cold piece. He's full-blown cold piece of the week. And
then also, the other thing was, it looks like Sunday dinners are coming back. Because that was the agreement, right? That she would. So, is he really, like, does he care, obviously, about this relationship so much? Like, he really wants that connection with his daughter? Or is it something deeper?
I think he cares. I think he cares, and he wants a relationship with his daughter. He feels bad for what he did, and I think he wants a relationship with his daughter. But I also think that because of so much time has passed, and now he knows her past life and things, he's trying to fix it in a typical dad way, but he's doing it the wrong way. He wants it's more like in a bully way, where he wants to beat anybody who touches his daughter versus trying to help her.
Or maybe it could be just straight up from a business aspect. I do you a favor, now you have to return it. You know what I mean? Take the dad out of it. I got you something that I normally don't do. So you need to now do something that you normally wouldn't do. Eye for an eye. It's an exchange.
I like that, because if you think about it, that's what Olivia does.
Yeah.
As a fixer. She's really just trading favors. She's trading IOUs, and I definitely think there's a huge aspect of it. It's simply control. It's that he controls her. It's that she has to, for this time period, whether she talks or not, she has to be in a certain place. It is putting her back into that child role.
It's funny you just said the favors thing. I think that's why last week, when I was kind of questioning, like, why she was calling all her clients, why she was in denial. But the thing is, when you said, like, she does favors, like, I did a favor for you. I haven't cashed in my favor yet, so how are you going to drop me like that?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this episode, and we will continue the conversation on all these topics online. But there's one last thing I have to bring up, because remember, I had that thing I forgot. So, online, last week, remember you were saying how a day after she was, like, like the day was released,
people were saying
it was a month later. That bothered me.
My
I
bad,
think maybe
guys.
that's why I'm salty against Fitz and Olivia now, because it's a month later, so she already started moving on. She's, like, living her life, and then a month later you release the name. I'm sorry, that really bothers me for some reason.
Oh my God, is it only me in my life? Like, a month is nothing.
Nah.
Do you know what I mean? Like a month, you can get rid of, like, okay, I don't know. There's a theory in life that it takes you double the time that you were with someone,
To get
right?
over it,
So
yeah.
especially, they were technically never even together, right? They do this, we break up, we don't break up, we break up, we don't break up. And to me, that was his last move. Like, he was willing to basically give up the presidency, announce that, like, that's his mistress, or bring her into the White House and her to be first lady. And she said no. He was like, oh no. He had to play another move, because I think the problem is that there's a certain aspect of their love, and more Fitz's love towards Olivia, that is selfish. And Fitz is a child. And that was a childlike move. So I do agree with you that it wasn't like it was the next day. But Fitz is literally like, I don't care what you say, you're my girl. We're going to live in Vermont or wherever, or in the White House. So he's going to keep playing whatever he has to do to make that happen.
And I completely understand.
Yeah.
Knowing that, I mean, going from a day to a month, I was just a little thrown. But I'll let it slide. Anyway, we're going to go into news and gossip from there.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so the ratings for Scandal season 3 premiere, it set records for the show. It attracted 10.5 million viewers. Congratulations! And then also, it had nearly 713,000 tweets during the running of the episode, reaching a Twitter audience of 3.7 million viewers. What I don't understand is how can Twitter attribute to ratings? Because this is my take on this. Take, for instance, Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy has been on for 10 long seasons, and last week they had 9 million viewers. And in the scheme of things, 10.5 million viewers is not a lot. That's not even in the top. That's not even in the top 10. You have shows like NCIS, LA,
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. You have all these shows that are 18, 19, 20 million. They just don't have an audience who likes to tweet while watching the show. Scandal is one of those shows where people just like to tweet. So how can you incorporate Twitter? How can you, people who tweet, how can you access that to how many people are watching?
Wait,
when
are you saying that the number's invalid, or that the number should be higher, the number should be lower?
I feel like Twitter, I don't feel like people tweeting during the show
Even should affect
the ratings.
It doesn't. And I could be reading the numbers incorrectly, but I've been following this kind of since they announced it a couple months ago. The two numbers are separate and distinct. So there's the actual Nielsen ratings, the old term rating. So that's the 10.9 million, right? They're just showing that 3 million people were talking about it in real time. So what they're trying to say is that there are new metrics, right? So for instance, let's say something like a show, NCIS on CBS, is an older demo, right? So it means that they have a built-in audience, they have 20 million, right? So presumably also too, and I'm just gonna make round numbers, let's say that their per episode budget is $2 million, right? What it's saying is, okay, you then have separately over here, you may have only 10 million viewers, but you have 3 million of those viewers who are talking in real time. To me, as an advertiser, what that means is I can now watch what they're doing. So for instance, the white coat, the Burberry white coat. No, seriously, immediately I was like, Burberry white coat on sale, $900, still can't afford it, but to me, what that means is that more people are attached to more layers of a show like Scandal. So even though they may only have 10 million viewers, I'd argue that there's more advertising dollars, number one. Number two, we know there are more advertising dollars because BET is stripping the show in real time. That normally doesn't happen. Normally, and I know I'm talking really fast because we don't have time. Normally you have to wait for syndication. You normally have to wait for season 5 or 100 episodes. Why? Because it means that the initial network is no longer going to lose money. They've already exhausted all avenues in terms of advertising in real time, DVDs, iTunes, podcasts, so forth and so on. The fact that Scandal is making so much money that ABC was able to strip it and basically sell it to BET, and BET is airing it 3 days later, means that they're not losing anything in advertising, or they made enough from BET to offset that. So it means arguably 20 million over here, NCIS, 10 million over here, Scandal, that the advertising revenue is actually the same. And Twitter is an indicator of it, of what Twitter means in terms of converting numbers into metrics in terms of advertising. I know that doesn't make sense. If anyone wants to talk about it, talk to me on Twitter.
No, it makes sense now. I get it.
Great analysis.
Okay.
Yeah. And what other news do you have?
That's it?
I think we have one other, oh, no, we have one other thing. Do we have it? I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but one of our amazing gladiators, Gladiator Josie, last year, the first ever annual Scandal meetup. You all know that Scandal isn't just a TV show. It is a revolution. It is a village. It is where everything. It's life. And she organized a meetup in New York for season 2 and season 1 of Scandal. And for season 3, it is actually coming to LA, to the West Side. And we will be bringing you more information on that. I do not know why it's not on the screen, but tweet us and we will tweet you. Oh, here it is. So it is the annual nationwide Gladiator meetup. It is the weekend of August 1st, 2014. It will be in Los Angeles, California. But the most important thing is contact at on Twitter, Outlaw Josie, or Gladiators Unite. Or you can also go to www.gladiatorsunite or gladiatorsunite@gmail.com. It's going to be an absolutely amazing event. Some of you probably have seen that we wear bracelets. We got those in the gift bags. Just a lot of cool stuff. We'll be telling you more as more information becomes available.
Perfect. Well, I'm super excited. Hopefully we will be there. But yeah, I guess we'll go into predictions. So
And now,
Hit the wrong button. Sorry.
no worries. That's what we call a blooper. So I think that we got lights in here. It's like Halloween.
You're so late. It always happens.
Really? Every
Yes.
time?
I never noticed either.
I've never, not all this flickering that's going on. Okay, so I think that Quinn will continue to become more of an integral part of the Olivia Pope and Associates team, and her eye makeup will get heavier and heavier each week. I'm sorry, I have to comment. I didn't notice at first last week when Bam made a comment. Like I was like, oh, it's not that bad, but I mean, it's a little heavy this season. I think that, well, I hope that Harrison has more lines than just one. And I am really excited to see what's going to happen between Eli Pope and Olivia Pope. And possibly, I think that as we see Jake's coming back, I think that Edison is going to make an appearance and it's going to be something scandalous as well. Sorry, did I say the right? Yeah, Edison. Yeah. Go ahead.
I predict that Jake needs to take a bath at first. Okay, because he looked like he stank. Like, I know it was a good moment, but as soon as she opened up the door, I was like, "Whoo, he probably stank." Like, that was, that's just me being me, whatever. I predict that Huck is going to go away for a while. He's not going to be at work, diligent little worker. I think he needs some time to assess. I also think while he's doing that, Quinn is going to be giving the ultimate side eye while she is at Pope and Associates, just because she's the one who actually found out the information. She's the middleman. So I think that's going to have an effect on the office dynamic.
I have more questions than anything else. Why did Rowan, because to me, when he's bad, he's Rowan. Why did Rowan loop Cyrus into Operation Remington?
Mm-hmm.
Because it means he wants something from him.
Right.
Number one. Number two, the fact that now the president can no longer have plausible deniability about the existence of B613. That's going to come up. Something about that doesn't sit right with me. And again, that was orchestrated by Rowan.
Right.
I also think that there's going to be a moment when Olivia's going to have to decide between her dad and Huck. And I think that both Quinn and Harrison are the wild cards. I agree with you. Huck's going away for a while. But notice when Harrison went in to Olivia and she's like, I just need a moment. Look at his facial expressions. Harrison may not talk, but he speaks volumes in his posture, his demeanor, and his facial expressions. Even though he seems like he's reading from the same script, he's not anymore. Something about his demeanor, ever since they fixed it, and he didn't get a pat on the back. You can only be a soldier so many times, and you go into war, and you go into battle, and you win, and you win, and you win, and he still hasn't gotten a Purple Heart? No. Something's amiss.
Where's James? Is my number one question. Where's James? Where you at, homeboy? I don't know if Huck is gonna go away, because with next week's episode with the whole bombing in the White House, I have a feeling that maybe Huck will play an intricate part of the fixing of some kind of fixing or something that has to do with Olivia Pope and Associates coming to the rescue at some point. I think it'll either be Huck, but if Huck does go away, then Quinn will kind of maybe get beside herself and try to play Huck. And I do wonder about Harrison because, I made that theory. I thought he was going to die, but his lines are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why is he not getting much camera time? And so are we going to see something?
Well, Abby isn't really that much either.
Yeah, she has like her little investigating scenes, but like if we want to play it that way, remember Harrison didn't have that many lines first season, and then all of a sudden he had that explosive scene. So I think it's just trying to rev us up for that next big moment to where Harrison.
And it's a huge ensemble cast.
Yeah.
When you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's a really big cast.
But yep. So I'm going to let you guys go. We appreciate it as always. Where can we find you?
You can find me at big6entertainment.com or Bam Erickson on Twitter and Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter at Sophia Stanley.
You can find me Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Cornelia also. I'll be at M-Bar tomorrow, 9:30, and Ice House Comedy Club, 7:30 Sunday.
And you can find me on everything. Why can't I talk right now? At Emil Ennis Jr. and also youtube.com/ChasingLA. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. All right.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.